Hello and welcome to the Better in Business podcast. We are on to the very last episode in this 7-part series. This is Business Fundamentals. If you haven't listened to the first 6, please stop the podcast and go back and do them. The first one's only 20 minutes, but the rest of them are about 10 minutes or less. And this series, this 7-part series, I want you to think of it as like a free mini course I'm giving you to help you do better in business, to help you make that business dream a reality rather than a nightmare. Okay, so we're into the very last episode. We are diving into the very last deadly sin, the 7 deadly sins. Let's jump in now. You've tuned into the Better in Business podcast, and I'm your host, Jeannie Savage. I'm a multi-award winning business veteran and head of the Strategic Bookkeeper Network. My network of strategic bookkeepers is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs do better in business. This podcast aims to challenge your thinking. If you're not thinking the right way, how can you act the right way? Each episode will dive into key drivers of success, which I also call the rules of the game. Learn the rules and play to win. Let's go. I like to start every episode by reminding you that it is globally recognized that pillar number 1 for success is up-to-date, accurate bookkeeping, which is the only way you can see how your business is performing in terms of profit and cash. If your books aren't right up to date, visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper. Fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper. Bookkeeping is a cost, whereas strategic bookkeeping is an investment that averages a 10x return on the fees. Okay, so let's jump into this very last episode of the 7-part series. And let's talk owner drawings and obligations. Definitely one that most entrepreneurs don't kind of even know what these are at the beginning. And then somewhere along the way, they learn a little bit about it. So this is the 7th deadly sin that could absolutely cause your business dream to become a nightmare. We're going to keep it fast and furious. And I am going to connect to the last episode, which was cash in the bank. Okay, because the two kind of sit quite closely, very closely. Yeah. Because if you're looking at your bank account, and there's some money in there and you think, yay, that must mean the business is going okay, then one of the things that could be happening, and it's the story I told in the last episode, is that you could be running up obligations that you just don't realize you have, like superannuation, like income tax, like goods and services tax owed to the tax office, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so your obligations are sitting there quietly going up and up and up. And if you don't understand how to see them to begin with, I mean, accountants will often talk to you about reserving your money for your obligations, right? Great, that's awesome. We need to do that. But I think what I have noticed, absolutely what I've seen with entrepreneurs, is when we say that, it's like, yes, I want to reserve money for my obligations, but we don't even know where to see that we have obligations. Yeah, so there's just a complete lack of hand-holding and support to really, from the beginning up, from the ground up, understand what the hell all this means and how to actually make it all work. And so without getting too technical, because all of this stuff is highly technical, and as an entrepreneur who specializes in whatever you specialize in, right? So whether you're a plumber, an electrician, an architect, whatever you do, yeah, your job is not to be an accountant or a double entry accounting technician, that you know that's what a bookkeeper is. Your job is to be great at what you do. But I've said it before and I'll say it again and again and again. You're not going to win the game without a winning team. And so all you need to do is really understand that success leaves clues, and you're going to win the game by recruiting key players like a strategic bookkeeper, an administrator, and so on. Okay? So in terms of owner drawings and obligations, as always, I've got my business fundamental slides in front of me. So I'm going to read from that because I think this kind of explains it quite well. So showing me that I was drawing out more cash than we had in net profit has been the most impactful part of this session. Renee, another happy client. So that's what one of our quite successful entrepreneurs that we have personally been working with around the numbers said to us at one of the early sessions that we were running, so monthly, to hold her accountable to her numbers. She said that us being able to show her, okay, so look at the profit and loss, look at the net profit, yeah, but then did you know that your husband and you took actually more than that in a drawing as your wage, okay? Because some entrepreneurs, so let's say you're running your plumbing business, depending on your trading structure, for example, you're a company or you're a sole trader or you're a trust, sometimes you'll run yourself through the payroll and sometimes you'll take a drawing. Now, when you run yourself through the payroll, that shows on the profit and loss. So when you see the net profit, it's minus what you've taken in wages. If you are taking drawings, yeah, like I do out of my trust. So I run my bookkeeping practice out of a trust, and therefore I'm not allowed to take wages. I have to take a drawing. That doesn't sit on the profit and loss. So if I take more money out for myself than there is in net profit, I'm not going to see that when I look at the profit and loss, okay? And what that means is that if I commit that sin around the drawings, I'm going to be taking more money out of the business than is available. And I'm going to end up in the red in terms of I'm going to end up with not enough money to cover all the bills and expenses, etc. But I could easily be fooled into believing that I am going to have enough money because a lot of obligations you've got in the future, it could be 1 month, 3 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years out. Okay, for example, in Australia, our tax year goes from July 1 to June 30, right? So on July 1, for example, I start creating income tax obligations that I won't pay for pretty much 2 years because my accountant and a lot of accountants in Australia do the income tax for their business clients in the May after the year closes. So literally, I'm creating obligations that are going to be due and payable 2 years later. So if I commit this sin, yeah, or these sins around cash and owner drawings and obligations, these last two sins, and this is exactly what business owners do. They get further down the track and suddenly they start getting bills from the tax office, superannuation, all these other things. And they're like, oh my goodness, how did this happen? And often they get really upset and they get upset with their accountant. They get upset with their bookkeeper. Why is everyone not telling me this? Yeah. And that is why you don't need a bookkeeper. You need a strategic bookkeeper because your bookkeeper is there to prepare the numbers. Your strategic bookkeeper is there to make sense of them and help you with all of this. And actually with income tax accountants, when I've heard business owners complain about them, let's think about what the income tax accountant is there for. They're there to minimize your tax obligations to the best of their ability under the law. That's actually a law. Their job is not necessarily in the service level agreement with you to help you understand all this stuff. Okay. So the role of helping you understand all of this stuff is actually more like strategic bookkeeping or management accounting. So it's an accountant, a strategic bookkeeper who comes in and actually engages with you and gives you a service level agreement that says, I'm going to hold your hand every step of the way and help you not only understand a bit of this, but really set you up to make sure it's all sweet, it's all covered, it's all sorted. So as we head towards the end of this podcast episode, your owner drawings and obligations, they can be sitting in a lot of different places, including the balance sheet, okay? And I don't recommend that you get overwhelmed by this or try and fully go down a rabbit hole of understanding it. I just recommend that you take a moment to really absorb the fact that successful business owners know and use their numbers, okay? Successful business owners are engaged with someone, an accountant, a strategic bookkeeper, who sits down with them and makes sure that all of this stuff is sorted and everything is working. My friends, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I feel like I've given you tons of information there. Okay. So I've also given you a 7-part series, which is audio. Okay. So it's built for the busy multitasking parent. Yeah. Or the busy multitasking entrepreneur. You can listen to this 7-part series, fast but impactful. I want to give you tons of bang for buck. Okay. So you can listen to this while you're in the car, between jobs, while you're going for a walk, doing whatever you need to do. Okay. So there are no excuses in terms of getting yourself a baseline of education, okay? And it is recognized globally that one of the key drivers for successful entrepreneurs is that they're regularly educating themselves, okay? I do tons of high value audio content myself. You'll find me listening to audiobooks when I am driving, when I am going for walks, etc. as well, because I'm committed to ongoing professional education. So you've got this 7-part series. You can absolutely reach out to me, as I said in every episode, to connect with a strategic bookkeeper globally. You can get the business health check. You can get the business fundamentals training. You can get the 7 deadly cash flow sins to absorb it. We've got tons to help you thrive. It starts from no cost, goes to low cost, and then goes from there. Okay. So I really hope that you got something out of this 7-part series, and I will see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. I would love to help you start doing better in business right now by giving you a free little ebook. It's a how-to guide. It's called the 7 Deadly Cash Flow Sins. And also I've developed a business health check for you. It's super high value. Both are available at betterinbusiness.global. If you would like to fire your bookkeeper and hire a strategic bookkeeper to start enjoying a return on investment and get the support you need to optimize your business cash and profit and time wealth, simply visit betterinbusiness.global, drop me a line, and I'll connect you with a certified strategic bookkeeper near you. I'll see you in the next episode.